It's strange, isn't it? How a single person can dismantle the very foundation of who you thought you were. I used to think I was solid, immutable, forged in the fires of ambition and tempered by the loyalty I'd always extended to those around me. Chen, 38, tech executive, Seattle. That was my identity, a neatly packaged life of purpose and drive. But beneath that veneer now, there's a quiet hum of something broken, something reshaped. A scar, visible only to me, thrums beneath my skin. I remember the hum of the server racks in my office, a constant, soothing drone that used to signify progress, innovation, the heartbeat of our company. Now, it's just noise, a memory of a time when I equated that sound with the rhythm of my own success. I built a career on trust, on the belief that a good team, built on mutual respect, could achieve anything. I championed ideas, mentored junior engineers, and always stood by my friends. Especially Alex. Alex, who I'd known since we were kids, coding together in my garage, dreaming of changing the world. We'd climbed the corporate ladder together, side by side, his ambition a mirror to my own, his success a joy I shared wholeheartedly. Then Olivia walked in. She joined our department as a senior data scientist, a new hire brought in to streamline our analytics division. I remember the first time I saw her, a Tuesday morning meeting, the fluorescent lights of the conference room doing little to dim the sharp intelligence in her eyes. Olivia Hayes. She carried herself with an effortless confidence, a quiet magnetism that drew attention without demanding it. Her resume was impeccable, her recommendations glowing. She was, quite simply, brilliant. And beautiful, in a way that wasn't overt, but rather a slow burn realization of sharp features, an enigmatic smile, and eyes that seemed to take everything in, dissect it, and store it away for later. I was immediately impressed, maybe even a little captivated. My role as a department head meant I often had to onboard new talent, especially those destined for key positions. I prided myself on fostering a welcoming environment, nurturing potential. I saw in Olivia a formidable mind, a genuine asset. We had our first one-on-one a few days after she started. I remember the smell of fresh coffee, the Seattle rain drumming softly against my office window. She leaned forward, listening intently as I outlined our team's vision, our challenges, our aspirations. Her questions were precise, insightful, cutting straight to the core of complex issues I'd sometimes struggled to articulate. I felt a thrill of genuine intellectual camaraderie. This wasn't just another hire. This was someone who could truly elevate us. She seemed to understand me, to speak my language. We talked about data ethics, about the future of AI, about the delicate balance between ambition and integrity. Or so I thought. She spoke of her own journey, the hurdles she'd overcome, the glass ceilings she intended to shatter. I admired her drive. I encouraged it. I saw her as a kindred spirit, someone who, like me, was committed to making an impact, but with a sharper edge, a more unyielding focus that I sometimes lacked. The early red flags were so subtle, almost imperceptible. She'd ask about my standing in the company, not out of curiosity about my role, but about my influence, my strategic relationships with the board, my long-term trajectory. I'd answer openly, transparently, seeing no reason not to. We were, after all, colleagues, soon to be friends, collaborators. She'd ask about Alex, too, always in the context of his ambitions, his key projects, his relationship with me. He seems very driven, David, she'd say, a real mover. And so loyal to you, it seems. A faint smile would play on her lips, a look in her eyes that I now recognize as assessment, but then interpreted as genuine interest. I remember thinking, she's just trying to understand the landscape, build alliances. I rationalized it every time. I was an empathetic leader. I believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt. My trust, once earned, was unwavering. And Olivia had earned it, or so I believed. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the ground beneath me began to shift. Olivia became my shadow, my confidant. She'd sit in my office late, after everyone else had left, discussing project roadmaps, market strategies, even my personal doubts about certain leadership decisions. I shared my anxieties, my hopes, the vulnerabilities of our team's current projects. She listened with an intensity that was both flattering and, in retrospect, predatory. I felt understood, supported. She offered advice, always framed as another perspective, a slightly different angle, and it was often brilliant, incisive. Her insights usually found their way into our team discussions, strengthening our proposals, improving our outcomes. I felt a surge of pride, thinking we were achieving this together. Then came the subtle destabilization. I started noticing small things. A casual comment from Olivia in a meeting, presenting an idea that felt strikingly similar to one I'd confided to her days earlier, but reframed in a way that subtly shifted the credit. She'd always attribute it to our discussions or brainstorming sessions, and I'd nod, proud to have her on the team. But a tiny, almost imperceptible seed of unease was planted. Was it my idea or ours? It seemed trivial then. She started spending a lot of time with Alex. At first, I was pleased. I'd always wanted Alex to spread his wings, forge new connections. Olivia's really bringing a fresh perspective to Alex's analytics division, I told myself. It's good for him. But their collaboration intensified, sometimes behind closed doors. She'd often mention Alex in our private conversations, painting him in a nuanced light. Alex seems a bit restless, doesn't he? Like he's looking for something more than just supporting roles. Or, he has such ambition, David. He just needs the right platform, the right champion, to truly ascend. She never explicitly said anything negative, but her words, delivered with a sympathetic frown or a knowing glance, began to subtly reshape my perception of my oldest friend. I found myself scrutinizing Alex more, wondering if he was, in fact, feeling constrained, if my leadership was holding him back. This was the insidious part. She was weaponizing my empathy against me. A tension started building, a pressure in my chest I couldn't quite articulate. My focus, once sharp, started to fray at the edges. I felt perpetually on edge, trying to interpret the subtle shifts in team dynamics. The way Olivia and Alex exchanged glances in meetings, the sudden quietness when I entered a room where they were talking. I dismissed it all as paranoia, stress. Asterisk, you're imagining things, David. They're just working closely. Asterisk, Olivia, ever observant, would notice my distress. You seem stressed, David, she'd say, her voice laced with concern. Are you getting enough sleep? This project is taking a toll on you. She'd offer to take some of my workload, to lighten the load, and I'd gratefully accept, unaware I was slowly handing her the keys to my kingdom. The gaslighting began subtly, then intensified. I remember a specific instance. I had a confidential strategy document, outlining a risky but potentially game-changing acquisition target. I'd only shared the preliminary details with Olivia, explicitly stating it was under wraps. A week later, during a senior leadership meeting, Alex mentioned the exact same acquisition target, presenting it as his own exploratory research and garnering significant praise. My stomach dropped. I cornered Olivia afterwards, my voice low and tight. Olivia, about that acquisition target, did you mention it to Alex? She looked at me, her eyes wide, a flicker of something unreadable in their depths. David, what are you talking about? I haven't discussed anything confidential with Alex. You know I respect boundaries. Are you sure you didn't mention it in passing? Or perhaps you just heard Alex's idea and connected it in your mind to something you were thinking about. She paused, her expression softening into a look of genuine concern. You seem a little on edge lately, David. This project is huge, I know, but maybe you're just stressed. We're all in this together, remember? Her words twisted my insides. Asterisk, was I? Was I misremembering? Was I truly so stressed that my perception was failing me? Asterisk, I replayed our conversation in my head, dissecting every word, every nuance. I was certain I hadn't mentioned it to anyone else, certain I had been clear with her. But her conviction, her calm dismissal, made me question my own memory, my own sanity. I mumbled an apology, feeling foolish, paranoid. She smiled, a reassuring, almost pitying smile. Don't worry about it, David. We all have those moments. That night, I barely slept, haunted by the unsettling feeling that my reality was slipping. The betrayal, when it finally hit, was like a physical blow. It was the culmination of months of subtle manipulation, of whispered suggestions, of an erosion of trust that I hadn't even realized was happening until it was too late. The company was pushing for a significant expansion into a new market segment, a project I had championed for over a year, meticulously building the data models, the strategic framework, the entire presentation. This was my baby, my legacy project. The board presentation was the culmination, the moment of truth. I had poured everything into it. Olivia had been instrumental in refining the data, or so I believed. We'd spent countless late nights together, poring over spreadsheets, crafting narratives, rehearsing our arguments. She was my co-pilot, my trusted advisor. Alex, too, had been involved, albeit in a more peripheral role, assisting with some of the preliminary market analysis. I saw us as a cohesive unit, a formidable trio ready to impress. The day of the presentation arrived. My heart hammered with a mixture of nerves and exhilaration. I stood at the podium, facing the board, feeling the weight of the company's future on my shoulders. I began to speak, confident in the data, confident in the strategy. When it came time for the detailed market projections, I gestured to the screen, expecting to see the slides Olivia and I had meticulously prepared. But the slides that appeared were subtly different. The branding, the design, they were familiar, but the narrative had shifted. The key data points, the innovative models, the core of the presentation, they were all attributed, not to my team's collaborative effort, not to my vision, but to Alex Chen's refined market analysis and Olivia Hayes' strategic data modeling. My name was present, yes, in a small, almost incidental way, as the overall project lead, but the intellectual heft, the groundbreaking insights, the very soul of the project, had been surgically excised and reattributed. I felt a cold dread spread through my chest. My voice wavered. My eyes darted to Alex, who sat beside Olivia at the presentation table, his gaze fixed on the screen, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. Olivia, seated next to him, caught my eye. She offered a small, knowing smile, a flash of triumph that sent ice through my veins. It was as if she was saying, "See, David? This is how it's done." I stumbled through the rest of my portion, my mind reeling. The betrayal wasn't just professional. It was personal, intimate. This wasn't just about credit. It was about my reputation, my integrity, my lifelong friendship. As the presentation concluded, and the board members offered their congratulations, largely directed at Alex and Olivia, I felt a strange detachment, as if I were watching a movie of my own life unfold from a distance. I cornered Olivia in the hallway, my voice barely a whisper, trembling with a raw emotion I hadn't felt since childhood. "What was that, Olivia? What did you do?" She turned, her face a mask of cool professionalism, only the faintest trace of that chilling smile lingering at the corners of her mouth. "David," she said, her voice soft, almost sympathetic, "some of us understand that success isn't about friendship, it's about strategy." She paused, her eyes holding mine, completely devoid of warmth. "And sometimes, strategy requires difficult choices. Alex is a valuable asset. He has potential. And you? Well, you were an excellent mentor." The words hit me harder than any punch. An excellent mentor. A stepping stone. My entire purpose, reduced to a utility. And Alex, my childhood friend, who had just been promoted to a key strategic role alongside her, stood a few feet away, talking animatedly to a board member. He saw me, our eyes met, and he quickly looked away, a flicker of guilt, or perhaps just discomfort, crossing his face. In that moment, the double betrayal crystallized. My friend, my proc, the person I had championed for years, had conspired with her, used me, and then discarded me without a backward glance. The world, as I knew it, shattered. I don't remember much of the next few days. It was a blur of numb disbelief, followed by a crushing wave of grief. I went home, locking myself in my apartment, the vibrant city of Seattle outside my window now a distant, irrelevant hum. The server racks, the whiteboard filled with ambitious plans, the coffee shared, the laughter, the camaraderie, it all replayed in my mind. Each memory tainted, each interaction now reinterpreted through the lens of Olivia's cold strategy. I questioned everything. My judgment, my empathy, my very understanding of human nature. Was I naive? Was I a fool to believe in loyalty and friendship in a cutthroat corporate world? The shame was immense, burning hotter than the anger. I felt like a mark, easily played, easily discarded. I lost weight. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford, my nights filled with a relentless reel of betrayals, missed red flags, and the chilling echoes of Olivia's words. Success isn't about friendship, it's about strategy. But then, slowly, something shifted. In the depths of that emotional collapse, a tiny spark of defiance ignited. I was broken, yes, but not permanently destroyed. The mask Olivia had worn, the carefully constructed persona of a kindred spirit, had been ripped away, and in its place, I saw a ruthless, calculating opportunist. Her actions weren't a reflection of my weakness. They were a reflection of her fundamental lack of ethics, her hollowness. And Alex's complicity spoke volumes about his character, not mine. I realized I couldn't stay. Not in that environment, not with those people. The very air felt toxic. Every hallway, every conference room, every casual conversation would be a reminder of what I had lost, what I had allowed to happen. Staying would mean compromising my own integrity, becoming a version of myself I didn't recognize, jaded and distrustful. I had built a career on principles, and those principles were now under direct assault. The decision to leave was terrifying, exhilarating. It felt like stepping off a cliff, but it was also the first true breath I'd taken in months. I wrote my resignation letter, carefully, concisely. I wouldn't detail the specifics of the betrayal. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of a dramatic exit. I simply stated that my values no longer aligned with the company's direction. It was a quiet rebellion, a reclaiming of my autonomy. Packing my office was a surreal experience. Each item, each framed photo, each award felt heavy with memory. The old coffee mug Alex had given me for my birthday years ago, now just a hollow symbol. I looked at the empty desk, the silent server racks, and felt a strange sense of liberation mixed with an aching sadness. I walked out of that building for the last time, into the cool Seattle rain, not knowing what was next, but knowing with absolute certainty that I was walking towards something better, something real. The weeks that followed were a void, a cleansing. I took long walks along the Puget Sound, the vast expanse of water a balm to my raw nerves. I read. I cooked. I reconnected with old friends outside of the corporate bubble, people who saw me. David, not David Chen, the executive. The scar was still there, a phantom ache, but the wound was slowly beginning to heal. Then came the idea. It sparked during one of those walks, a quiet whisper that grew into a resolute roar. If the corporate world could be so devoid of ethics, so driven by ruthless ambition, then I would build something different. Something rooted in integrity, in genuine collaboration, in the belief that technology could serve humanity, not just profit margins. I started my own tech startup, focusing on ethical AI development. It was small, just a few brilliant, like-minded individuals, but the energy was electric. We didn't just build products, we built a culture, a community. Every decision was weighed against our core values. Every team member was a valued voice. We fostered an environment where support wasn't a strategic tool, but an inherent quality. The journey was difficult, fraught with challenges. There were sleepless nights, moments of doubt, the relentless pressure of entrepreneurship. But this time, the pressure felt different. It was a creative tension, a shared struggle, not a corrosive force eating away at my soul. I learned to discern true ambition from toxic ambition, recognizing the hunger for impact versus the hunger for power at any cost. I learned that trust, once broken, can be rebuilt, but only on a foundation of genuine honesty and transparency. Today, my company thrives. We're not a corporate giant, not yet, but we are making a difference. We're building technology that truly benefits people, and we're doing it with integrity. I lead a team that respects each other, that champions each other, not out of strategic calculation, but out of genuine care. I've found a profound sense of purpose, a professional fulfillment that transcends any corporate title or bonus. And personally, I've healed. The memory of Olivia Hayes and Alex Chen, the betrayal, it's a part of my story now, a chapter one can look back on without the searing pain. It's a bittersweet kind of closure. I still feel a pang when I hear their names mentioned in industry news, or see a LinkedIn update about their continued unspoken ascent within the company I left behind. They achieved their power, their positions, but at what cost? I wonder if they ever look back, if they ever question the price of their strategy. I doubt it. For me, the ascent was not about climbing a pre-existing ladder, but about building my own. It wasn't about ruthless ambition, but about resilient integrity. I am stronger, wiser, and more authentically myself than I ever was within the confines of that old corporate world. The scar is a reminder, yes, a testament to what I endured, but it's also a badge of honor, a symbol of my awakening. I lost a friend, a mentor, and a piece of my innocence, but I found my true self, my true purpose. And that, I've learned, is a victory far greater than any promotion.